Terry Small's husband lost 45 pounds, had hair loss, memory loss and diarrhoea, and was due for treatment at the Walter Reed Army Medical Centre when the orders were changed and he was diagnosed with stress. Terry publicised his case. He was transferred to Hawaii.
Usually you go to a duty station and you're there for 3 years. We've moved 4 times since 1991. And they have said, you need to kind of control your wife. You need to keep her quiet. You need to do something about this. If you can't control, are you such an incompetent soldier that you cannot control your wife?
It appears to me that they have diseases 1 through 100 in a book somewhere, and they're taking symptoms A through C that I have, and if my symptoms don't fit their diseases, then I'm not sick.
Our folks are scared of what they've got. They're scared of the rashes. They're scared of the bleeding gums. They're scared of feeling sick. They're scared of what their financial situation is because they can't work. They're scared of losing their career in the military.
Victor Sylvester, a Vietnam veteran, set up an independent support network when his son went to the Gulf. With the developing mystery illness, he's received more than 8,000 calls from sick veterans.
I'm being told one thing and then being told another, being given numerous drugs and prescriptions that are not working. They are scared. They are confused. They don't know where to go for the right answers for the truth, because the Department of Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs, their credibility with the Desert Storm veteran in the United States stands at 0. And they don't know who to believe.
They told me that it would be in my best interest not to have kids until they finally find out what it is. The VA told me the same thing, that it would not be a good idea to have any kids at this time.
If Desert Storm syndrome can be passed on by the veterans, the implications are immense and extremely disturbing. Cluster studies are already beginning to show up incidences of miscarriages, sick spouses, and birth defects.
He has an artificial eye, he has an ear missing, his jaw down here is underdeveloped, it doesn't go all the way up. There's no reason to believe that, anything runs in our families, because the background, there's nothing. And the severity of the abnormalities just shocked us.
Despite international condemnation, the Iraqis have reportedly deployed poison gas on more than 200 occasions. These are mustard gas victims, and Iran says that 30,000 of its troops have been poisoned since Iraq first used war gas in 1983.
After Halabja, no one disputed Saddam Hussein's stockpile of chemical weapons and his willingness to use them. During the build-up to the war, the Coalition Command instituted an unprecedented program of protection against nerve and biological agents. Undisclosed numbers of British and more than 130,000 US troops had the anthrax vaccine. Some troops received botulinum toxin vaccine and nerve agent protection tablets, both unapproved for humans in the States before the war.
I received the typical anthrax botulism shots, the vaccines, and I received pyridostigmine, a drug which is an anti-nerve agent drug that we were given, and I had a severe reaction to that drug when it was administered. I started developing twitching of my eyes, and they'd start running, the runny nose and a drooling and deltoid muscles and aches and pains, and I reported these conditions to our doctor, and I was told to continue taking them, that we needed to combat any type of chemical, biological warfare we might come in contact with.
As a nurse, Carol Piku travelled with a military hospital on the front line. Now she's too sick to work at all.
Right now I have the bladder and bowel incontinence. I also have some memory loss. I also been diagnosed with damage to the left thalamus of my brain. I've also been diagnosed with central and peripheral difficulties and a right ear balance disorder.
The pyridostigmine bromide, if it's given in too large a concentration, will cross what's known as the blood-brain barrier, get into the brain, and cause neurological problems. Those effects are documented, seem to be much rarer, but of course would give you concern if you were prescribing pyridostigmine to a large group of people where you didn't have any control over how much was prescribed?
I was told I probably wouldn't be able to function as a nurse again because of the fact if I was told to give a 50 cc of medicine, maybe I gave 100 or 5 or gave the wrong drug. I have to watch what I do on a day-to-day basis because I forget sometimes where I'm going and things that I should have done or accomplished, like I left the oven on for 2 days.
The side effects from taking pyridostigmine bromide tablets, or NAPs, are the same as from exposure to organophosphate poisoning: visual problems, muscle weakness and diarrhea, symptoms some troops experienced. Troops are also critical of the mass inoculation program they were subjected to. Some had as many as 27 injections in 3 weeks, and many soldiers say there was no follow-up monitoring. Many soldiers believe they have been permanently damaged by these chemicals. One British soldier, Robert Lake, was seriously sick when he returned from the Gulf War. He believes his problems began with the injections he was given. The Ministry of Defence is now investigating his illness.
My body just went from being a normal state just to overloading with all the chemicals from the fires and what the drugs they pushed into us with the naps and the injections and that, and my body just couldn't take it anymore.
Robert's immune system has broken down. He now has to have a special diet and is allergic to most foods. He suffered pains in his chest, muscle failure, diarrhea, digestive problems, nausea, headaches, and is sensitive to light.
Well, a doctor and 2 medics arrived to administer this drug to the whole of our workshops. And we were told, right, this is anthrax. But we've already had anthrax. No, this is the second anthrax. I said, why? What's the difference? Oh, this is just an add-on to it. I said, why? I said, this is a military version and it's better for you.
Later that day, he was violently sick, collapsed, and had to be taken away in an ambulance.
I apparently just sort of fell forward on my head against the windscreen. So he stopped, went round the other side, opened it up and pulled me out. And I'd stopped breathing, so he started doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on me. And they were calling other people to give him a hand, and they got me breathing, so they got me in the back. My heartbeat was getting really weaker and weaker, and I stopped breathing again, so they gave me the kiss of life. And in the morning, the medic came around and he said, I think you're getting sent out. We're going to get rid of you back to the UK, because there's something wrong, something's gone wrong here.
But Robert was returned to his unit on the front line. He continued to have health problems.
They asked me what I had today, what I've been eating, and said, yes, what have you done today? I said I had the anthrax injection. I kept telling them I had the anthrax injection with that stuff all mixed in, whatever. He said, oh no, you just had a panic attack. It's the only reason why you stopped breathing.
The Ministry of Defence have refused to give his doctor details of what was in the injections he received. Secrecy surrounds the injections and pills in the States too. Soldiers there have been unable to find out exactly what they were given. Sensitive drug information is coded and often impossible to uncover on leaving the military.
The aircraft carrier was 7,500 people, and the whole battle group of like 50 ships were inoculized one time. You stand in line and you get 6 shots. You weren't told what they were. You weren't told how many we were getting. You weren't told anything.
We got a numerous pills. We got pills for black flag. We got anthrax shots. We got so many that I can't even name. Don't even know the name of. We was just getting. We got shots when we left Dallas Navy Air Station. We got shots when we got to California. We got even more shots when we reached Southwest Asia.
2 drugs were unapproved in the States before the war: the NAPS tablets and the botulinum toxin vaccine, withdrawn in the mid-1970s as there was insufficient data on its safety. The military applied for an official waiver to administer investigational drugs and vaccines on the soldiers without their informed consent. Never before had soldiers' rights been waived in this way.
They turned to the FDA and ordered the FDA to approve it on the spot. But that's just a charade. That doesn't change the nature of the drugs. They had not been adequately tested, and number 2, none of the soldiers were given adequate information, and there was no